Welcome back to 40/20/90s on the Record. We are joined once again by U.S. Senator John Boozman, hoping to keep his seat for the U.S. Senate representing Arkansas. Now, Senator Boozman, you have several opponents this year for the elections coming up in November. So how do you respond to their accusations calling you Republican in name only? You are not conservative enough. You support Planned Parenthood, and you've supported bills that support abortion. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, it's great that we've got a bunch of primary opponents in the sense that you look across the races. That's good for America. It's good for Arkansas that people are engaged. I've been called lots of things. Generally, not being conservative enough is not one of those. When you look at things like Planned Parenthood and abortion, I've got an A+ rating with all of those groups. And most of those groups, the ones that put forward scorecards, I'm right at the top of the list. And then also most of those groups, Right to Life groups, are endorsing me. So I'm very, very proud of my record in that regard. And so that's how I would respond.
Now, abortion is a big topic.
Abortion is huge.
It's coming up right now.
I think that when you look at any scorecard, I've got an A+ rating, 100% voting record, and then also I'm very proud of the Right to Life endorsement.
Okay. And what was your biggest challenge in the term that you just are completing right now?
Well, I think just pushing back against, we've got elections have consequences. So we've got a Democratic president, we've got a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate. And so because of that, just really trying to stop all the radical agenda of the Biden-Harris administration. And there's plenty of it. I mentioned earlier, trying to pass these massive spending bills that simply would not help, but also would literally pour gasoline onto the fire regarding inflation. So that's our biggest challenge right now. The good news is that we've succeeded in actually doing a lot of that. The American public has woken up. One thing that really was a huge thing was the tax implications. The idea that they were going to allow the IRS every time you had at first it was $600 when you put $600 into your checking account or withdrew it. Then they said $10,000. The average taxpayer has about $62,000, the average family, $62,000 worth of activity. So essentially, after you met the $10,000 threshold, all of that information would then go to the IRS. They were going to spend $80 billion hiring 86,000 new agents to pore over your records. So we were able to eliminate that. We were able to eliminate another of the terrible tax implications. And so these are the things that we're working very hard on doing.
One of the departments that some of the Democratic opponents suggest that we get rid of is the Department of Defense, or at least not spend so much money on them. What is your position on that?
Well, I'm for spending as much money as we need. The Constitution clearly says that we need to be involved in defense. The state of Arkansas, they can do a lot of things for the people of Arkansas. Our communities can. The only thing that can defend us is the national government. So we waste a lot of money. We spend a lot of money on areas that clearly are outside of the bounds of probably what we need to be doing. Those are the areas that we need to cut back on. But I'm a guy that believes that we need to spend whatever we need to spend to keep us safe. And the federal government's the only one that can do that. So we work very hard on that. We are actually able to plus up the defense budget. When you look at the world right now, when you look at what's going on in Ukraine, when you look at what's going on in Iran, the Chinese, watching Taiwan, considering again invading that country, why would you consider, reducing the budget, much less getting rid of the Department of Defense? I'm a peace through strength guy, and I've demonstrated that through the years.
Okay, well, Senator Boozman, we have about 30 seconds to tell the voters why they should elect you again for another term in the U.S. Senate.
Well, we need strong leadership in Washington, again, to push back against the Biden-Harris agenda. I've got not a good record, I've got a great record regarding the life issues, the gun issues, supporting law enforcement, supporting our veterans, taking care of our farmers. and again, working very, very hard now on trying to control things like inflation and the massive spending that the Biden-Harris agenda is proposing.
All right, Senator Boozman, thank you so much for joining us here on
Thank
40
you so
29
much
News
for
on the
having me.
Record.
We appreciate it.